My real estate channel is all about helping buyers and sellers understand the Florida real estate market. So I was not going to make this video, but because I have been asked this question about the NAR lawsuit, that's what I'm just going to refer to it as, the NAR lawsuit. I've been asked by other agents, coworkers, my past buyers and sellers, family members, everybody. And I thought it would just be so easy to do a video and just kind of once and for all state what my opinion is on this. But then in kind of getting that video outlined out and, getting my thoughts together and figuring out what I want to say about this, yesterday happened. And yesterday was at the filming of this video. So I'm speaking to March 15th. So there was this out of the blue, nobody knew it was going on, settlement that happened between NAR and really essentially the court, the judgment. There was this huge judgment that came down, and NAR was apparently negotiating in the background and didn't tell anybody. So that was something new that just came out. So let me just back up for a minute and get you caught up if you don't know what I'm talking about. So basically, NAR, which stands for the National Association of Realtors, was sued. And let me tell you the premise behind that. So to make it easy, I'm going to read this to you from my computer, and then I'm going to tell you what this means in regular people terms. So basically, the lawsuit argued that NAR, which stands for National Association of Realtors, and brokerages, so I'm going to stop there and tell you when they're saying brokerages. So the lawsuit brought in Keller Williams, Realogy, LPT, MVP Realty, Premier Plus, Remax, Berkshire Hathaway. It's a lot. There's more than that. It's a lot. So the lawsuits argued that NAR and brokerages who required their agents to be members of NAR, of the National Association of Realtors. So anytime you see a company say realtors, we are realtors, that is supposed to be something special. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. So if they required their agents to be members of NAR, had violated antitrust laws by mandating that the seller's agent make an offer of payment to the buyer's agent, and setting rules that led to an industry-wide standard of commission. All right, so what does that mean? Well, basically, this is how it works in the real world. In case you didn't know, I am a real estate broker, and I've been a real estate broker for 25 years plus. So I'm going to give this to you as I perceive it. So basically what they're saying is when you become a real estate agent is one term, but being a realtor, which means that you're a member of the National Association of Realtors, they have a code of ethics, all of these things. You have to join it, you have to pay to join it. They set the rules. If we're looking at an umbrella, they are the umbrella. They're up here. They're the main component of the umbrella at the tippy top. Then as the umbrella falls out, there are all these other MLS systems. You know how you go on the multiple listing service. So there's all different ones all over the country, many, many thousands of them. So if you want to be part of the multiple listing service, you have to be an NAR member. Again, we pay for that. So like the company that I work for, if I was not a member of NAR, I cannot work for the company that I work for. So they want everybody to be a member of the National Association of Realtors. It's a very powerful institution. And when you're a member of NAR, then you have to abide by their rules. So one of their rules, one of many, they have a lot of rules, but one of them, and the one we're talking about now, is that in the MLS, you'll see. So if you're a seller, you pay, I'm making it up, okay? I'm making this number up. Let's say you agreed to pay 6%. Now in Florida, where I hold an active broker's license, our listing contracts spell out, and a good agent is supposed to go over this with you, and then also a good seller would read what they're signing, but ours specifically spells out, and I'm making it up. So if you write in a 6 or a 5 or a 4, whatever that is. So if you wrote in 6%, and then it says, what do you want to offer the seller's agent, which let's say I'm the listing agent, so I'm the seller's agent, and let's say they determine 3%, and then it says, what do you want to offer? A buyer's agent, a transaction broker, or no agent representation? So let's say you put 211, or you put 3, or you put 3 across the board. Those are spelled out. So in my opinion, in Florida anyway, you should know as a seller exactly what you're paying out. Well, here's where the problem came in. When that goes in the MLS, there was, and no longer, a rule that if you list a home and you want that home to go in the MLS, you have to put something as a payout. So could you put $1? Yes, you could. Now let's just use a little bit of logic. If you put $1 in there and you're the seller, is anybody going to show your house? If you're a buyer's agent and you're going to drive somebody around and show them houses for a month and make $1, would anyone do that? Would anybody do that? So there was a little bit of a, yes, you can put $1 in there. You can't put 0. You have to put a number. But if you put $1, then who's going to show your property? So where the problem came in is they called it price fixing, and they said NAR and everybody else involved in this was price fixing because they made the rules and we played by them. They set the game and the rules, and then we as agents played by them. This is the way we were told we could do business, so this is how we did business. Now we're in the wrong. Now there's these multi-billion-dollar lawsuits because of it. So I'm going to read again, and then I'll tell you exactly what this means. So NAR on March 15th resolved a slew of litigation accusing the trade group and brokerages of conspiring to keep real estate commissions artificially high nationwide. Under the settlement, this is a new settlement as of March 15th, 2024, the Realtor Group would pay $418 million over 4 years. So that is about $2 billion with a B. $2 billion. Now, let me just say a couple things that I think are important. All of these homeowners that got into this class action lawsuit, and listen, I've gotten 2 of them in my own mail asking me, did you sell a house? Do you want to be part of this lawsuit? So here's the thing. You sign on for that, and what do you think is going to happen? Do you think you're getting your commission back? Do you think that that's going to be paid out to you? Because it isn't. If you take the amount that's going to be paid out, which is a lot for sure, but when you divide that by the fees out and the net number of what's paid, and then over time, and then divide it by all the people that got involved in these lawsuits, I mean, there are some very well-educated people out there that have math degrees far higher than mine that say that if a seller gets $500, they're lucky. So I don't know if this was a money grab for sellers, but in my opinion, this is certainly a money grab for lawyers. They're getting paid, that is for sure. And this is nothing, listen, I work with lawyers, I love my lawyers, but I mean, come on, who's really getting paid here? Now, what people have been asking is what my opinion is on this. And I'm just going to speak from my heart because that's all I know how to do. So let's just say you're an FHA buyer and you have saved. You got married, you had a couple kids, you've always wanted to own a house, and you have saved and scraped, and you are ready to buy your first home for $300,000. You are so excited you can't take it. You saved the amount you're required to have down by FHA. You're going to need the seller to help you with closing costs, but you have saved the money to at least slide right in. Your credit's good. So here we are together, you and I. I'm going to show you some homes. I'm going to spend the next month showing you everything you want to see and make sure you're educated on everything. I'm going to negotiate your contract. I'm going to get you the best deal that I can. I'm going to make sure you understand everything front, back, and sideways. And in return for that, I'm going to need you to sign on the dotted line right here. I just need your signature that you are willing to pay me $9,000 to do that. What? I have to pay you $9,000? Wait a minute. My mom and dad told me that the seller pays your commission. Wait, I don't have $9,000. Where am I going to get $9,000? Well, we have a problem. Well, would you do it for $500? I have $500. Would you do it for $500? So let me see. Carry the 1, divide by 2. Well, if I work for a month and I put all this effort in and I'm doing everything for you because I don't know how to do it any differently, I'm going to make sure you get the best deal. I'm going to make sure you're covered. I'm going to make sure you understand everything front, back, and sideways. I'm going to make sure that you're not buying a house with a bad roof. I'm going to make sure you do all the things you're supposed to do in a timely manner. But I'm going to make $500 at the end of the month because that's all you have? How about $3,000? Can you do it for $3,000? Now, can you imagine? Do you want to do that with a person that you are? If I'm supposed to be your advocate, who am I advocating for? Do you want to get into a commission debate with me? Do you want to feel adversarial with me when I am supposed to be representing your best interests? I just don't understand how that's going to work. Now, let's say that you're somebody out there and you're saying,
well, what's probably going to happen is that they're going to allow the buyer to roll the commission into the deal.
So here we are, the same FHA buyer. Now I've got to get permission because I already was going to max out what they needed with closing costs. I had already talked to the lender. I already knew what they needed in closing costs, and I was going to ask for every dime of that. So they're bumping up against the ceiling. Now I'm going to go back and say, and you got to add $9,000 to that, or whatever the number is, because they don't have any money now at this point because they saved and they're out of money. They don't have any money to pay my commission. So that would be problem number 1. What if they're VA? What if they're VA and they can't? They can't pay me because VA says they can't pay me. What are we going to do with that? Okay, well, let's say some new rule comes out because now we stuck our foot in it and now we're in the quicksand. So let's say it becomes allowable to roll the commission into the deal. So let's say we go under contract for $300,000. They are saying they can't pay me. They don't have any money to do it. So we write the deal for $309,000. And that's what we offer the seller. And let's make the assumption that the DOJ does not come in here at a later date and say, no, you can't do that. Let's assume that they allowed us to do it because there is a little bit of chirpings around that they're not going to let us roll that in that way and actually give it to the seller to give back to us, because you know what? That's what we're doing now. When we go price a home out, we are pricing the home out based upon comps that we see in the MLS. The comps we see in the MLS have a commission rolled into them. So we're doing that now. We're back to square one. So I think that, and this is me with the crystal ball, I think they're going to say we can't do that because that puts us back right where we are right now. So let's say that we can, let's just assume we can for a minute. And I say, okay, well, we're going to write this for $309,000 and that covers my commission. Don't you think somebody, even if it's not these poor innocent kids who have saved and scrapped to get a home for themselves, don't you think maybe shrewd mom and dad are going to go,
wait a minute, you're going to finance her commission for 30 years? You're wrapping $9,000 into the house sale and your mortgage is 30 years. You're going to pay her for 30 years?
Do you understand what I'm saying? It's insanity. I don't understand it. I don't get it. And listen, I'm just telling you my opinion as I perceive it. I feel like this is immensely problematic and I don't really understand who it helps. As it relates to Florida, our listing contracts are written in such a way that it's completely transparent, in my opinion. It's right there on paper who's getting paid out. But that's, not up to me. I'm not an attorney. I'm not any of those things. We're dealing with what we have right now. Commission is negotiable. It is, was, and probably always will be, hopefully. I've been a real estate broker 25 years. Never has commission not been negotiable. So I don't know. To me, If they allow us to stack the commission, the buyers pay us, but we stack it into the deal, then we are exactly where we are right now, in my opinion. And if we don't allow that to happen, then I don't understand how that works with VA. I don't understand how that works with FHA in many cases. There are so many things that can go wrong with making the buyer pay the commission. And some people might say, well, you know what? I mean, I could see somebody standing up and saying,
look what we did. We sued, we brought down the big dog. We are going to reduce the sale price of homes by bringing down the big fat cat real estate agents.
But here's the deal. Who got left in the dust? Who got run over? Who is underneath the bus right now? The buyer who is not super cash heavy. And how many buyers are cash heavy? So if you're the buyer that has enough for your down payment and you saved for that, you're the buyer that did even better and you saved not only for your down payment but also for your closing costs. And then I say, on this $400,000 home you're buying, you need to pay me X, $8,000, $12,000, $5,000, whatever it is. What if you don't have it? What if you were saving that for living room furniture? So let me tell you what really in reality just happened. That same FHA buyer that we're trying to give the gift of homeownership to, that same buyer who has taken a pay cut, maybe lost a job, gone through COVID, their car payment is high, their credit card debt is high, they're making less money than they ever have because their buck is stretched so thin between inflation and food prices, but they did it. They saved the down payment. Now here we are, and we're going to come to them and say, guess what? We saved the day. You get to pay the buyer's agent. Who does that help? Somebody tell me, who does that help?